God's perfect match is coming your way. That's a declaration, a prophetic word that can't be ignored. It's not just a wish, it's a divine promise. Sometimes we get so caught up in the ups and downs of life, we forget that God has already designed something, someone, something beyond what we can imagine, waiting for the right moment. But you need to understand before that match arrives, before that connection is made, God is working on you, refining you, preparing you for what's next. Some of you have been waiting. You've been waiting so long, and the enemy has tried to make you believe that maybe God's promises are for someone else. Maybe it's for those who have it all together, who never go through the struggle, who don't have the scars, the wounds, the disappointments. But let me remind you today that God doesn't choose based on perfection. He doesn't pick based on past mistakes or where you've been. He doesn't disqualify you because of your failures, your missteps, or your stumbles along the way. No, He's looking at something deeper. He's looking at your heart, He's looking at your faith, and He's looking at your readiness. See, God's perfect match is not just about who you're going to meet. It's about who you're becoming in the process. Some of us are praying for the right person to show up, but what we don't realize is that God is more focused on shaping us into the person we need to be to handle that match when it comes. There are lessons we need to learn. There are places in us that need healing. There are things that need to be revealed. God is not going to allow you to connect with someone who's going to pull you back to the old version of yourself. He's preparing both of you for something greater. The scripture tells us that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. That means your struggle, your pain, your heartaches, your delays, your setbacks, they are all part of the process. They are all shaping you. They are all making you ready for the perfect match that God has ordained for you. Sometimes we get frustrated because things aren't happening on our timeline, but God's timing is never wrong. It's always perfect. While you're waiting, God is working. He's working on your character. He's working on your patience. He's working on your ability to trust Him when everything around you says to give up. It's important to know that the right match will never pull you away from your purpose. God's perfect match will complement your destiny, not confuse it. If you're wondering if it's the right person, take a moment to evaluate what's being built between you two. Is it strengthening you? Is it pushing you toward your purpose? Is it challenging you to grow? If not, it's not the one. When God sends the perfect match, it's going to be something that drives you to the next level. It's not going to leave you stuck in the past or trapped in old patterns. Now, don't get it twisted. The right match won't be perfect because no one is. But the beauty of God's design is that He brings people into our lives who complement us, who help us become more of who He created us to be. You see, the perfect match isn't about finding someone who doesn't have flaws. It's about finding someone whose flaws align with yours in a way that pushes you both toward God's purpose for your life. It's about finding someone who understands the depth of your soul, who sees your potential, and who's willing to walk with you through the challenges, the changes, and the growth. But here's the catch. You've got to make sure you're ready. You can't expect God's perfect match to show up when you're not even aligned with God's purpose for your life. So many of us get frustrated with God when the person we've been praying for hasn't appeared yet. But the truth is, we haven't done the work in our own lives to receive. You can't expect God to send you someone who's ready to build when you're still holding on to brokenness. You can't expect God to send you someone who's going to support your vision when you're still unsure about your own purpose. God is not going to send someone into your life who is going to distract you from the path He set before you. His perfect match will always align with His plan for your life. That's why you have to trust the process. You have to trust that God's timing is always right. He's not only preparing the person for you, He's preparing you for the person. The journey that you're on right now is not a delay, it's a preparation. Sometimes we get so caught up in looking outward for the perfect match that we forget God is often working inside of us first. Before you get frustrated with where you are in life, remember that you're in God's hands and He's shaping you for something magnificent. The work He's doing in you right now is vital for the journey ahead. You're not just waiting for someone to come along and fill a space in your life. God is preparing you to be whole, to be complete, so that when the perfect match arrives, you won't have to look for them. You will know deep down in your spirit that this is the one. Let me tell you something. Your match is coming. You might not see it today, but it's coming. Your prayers are being answered. The delays, the disappointments, the heartaches, they've all been a part of God's plan. He's not going to leave you hanging. He's not going to leave you alone. His perfect match is coming your way, but you've got to trust the process. You've got to let go of the fear, the doubt, the insecurities that have held you back. You've got to stand firm in knowing that God has a purpose for your life, and His plan is better than anything you could ever imagine. When that moment comes, when you meet the person God has prepared for you, you'll look back and see how everything fell into place. You'll see how all of the twists and turns of your life were leading to this moment. You'll see how the challenges, the growth, the healing, the waiting, it was all worth it. You'll see that God had a plan all along. His perfect match wasn't just about finding the right person. It was about becoming the right person. It was about you growing into someone who is ready to receive His best. Remember, God's perfect match is not about perfection. It's about purpose. It's about the two of you coming together, hand in hand, to fulfill God's plan for your life. And when that match arrives, you'll know that it was worth the wait. Before God sends the perfect match into your life, He works on refining and preparing you. Your personal growth, healing, and alignment with God's purpose are crucial to receiving what He has planned for you. God's perfect match for you is not about finding someone flawless, but someone whose strengths and weaknesses complement yours. It's about aligning with a partner who helps you grow and fulfills God's purpose for both of your lives. While waiting for the right person, trust that God's timing is perfect. Every delay, struggle, and heartache is part of God's plan to prepare both you and your future match for what's ahead. His plan is always greater than our own understanding. Before the connection with your perfect match ever happens, God is already at work behind the scenes. He's preparing you, shaping you, and guiding you through the process. You might not see it now, but every step you're taking, every challenge you face, and every moment of growth is leading you toward the fulfillment of His plan for your life. There's a divine timing at work, and though it may not make sense in the moment, it is all purposeful. Understanding this preparation process is key, not just in waiting for your match, but in recognizing that God's timing is perfect and His purpose is greater than we can see. The journey of preparation is often overlooked because we focus so much on the arrival of that perfect match, the one who will make everything better. But the truth is, the best relationships aren't just about finding someone else who fits. They're about becoming the person you need to be in order to handle that relationship and everything it entails. God is not just preparing someone for you, He's preparing you for them. This process may not be easy, and it may not happen on your timeline, but it's necessary. God understands the depths of your heart, the desires you have, the wounds that need healing, and the lessons you need to learn. It's easy to assume that a relationship will be the solution to everything that's wrong in our lives. We often look for love to fill the gaps in our hearts, to fix what's broken, to heal the pain of past mistakes. But God knows that if you enter a relationship before you've healed and grown, it may not be the blessing you expect. It might not become the union that brings joy and fulfillment. Instead, it could become a place where old wounds are reopened and deeper scars are formed. That's why preparation is so important. During this season of preparation, God is dealing with you on a deeper level. He's refining you. Refining means purification, and sometimes that involves a little heat, little pressure, and a little time. God will take you through experiences that stretch you beyond your comfort zone, not because He wants to hurt you, but because He wants to mold you into the person you're meant to be. Just like a goldsmith who puts gold through the fire to refine it, God allows us to go through trials that refine our character, our faith, and our capacity for love. He's taking away impurities, and through the process, you are becoming more like the person He always intended for you to be. But this preparation isn't just about getting ready for the relationship. It's about becoming the right person for the relationship. Often we think about what we need from a partner, but we forget to ask ourselves, am I the person my future partner needs? This is a powerful question because it forces us to look inward. Are you ready to be selfless? Are you ready to love someone else as much as you love yourself? Are you emotionally mature enough to handle the challenges a relationship will bring? Are you in a place where you can give, not just take? It's easy to want someone to fill the gaps in our lives, but God is calling us to be whole before we enter into a relationship. He's calling us to bring something to the table, not just look for something to take from it. While God is working on you, He's also working on the person He's preparing for you. This is an important truth to remember. You're not the only one in preparation. The person you're waiting for is also going through a season of growth and healing. You might be in different places in your lives right now, but God knows exactly when to bring you both together. The timing will be perfect because it's all part of His divine plan. So in the waiting, don't just focus on yourself. Pray for the person who will come into your life, asking God to help them grow and heal just as you are. As you go through this process of preparation, it's important to let go of the need to control the outcome. We are so often conditioned by society and popular culture to seek perfection in every aspect of our lives, especially in relationships. But when we focus solely on perfection, we overlook the bigger picture, the purpose of the connection itself. A relationship isn't just about finding someone who looks perfect on paper or who seems to be everything we want. It's about finding someone whose life and purpose align with ours, someone who complements us and helps us grow into the people God has called us to be. The truth is, no one is perfect. Every person you meet will have flaws, weaknesses, and imperfections. So, when we base our expectations of a perfect relationship solely on outward appearances or superficial qualities, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Perfection doesn't exist in this world. We live in a fallen, imperfect reality. But what God offers is something deeper, a relationship that is rooted in His purpose for our lives, a union that serves a higher calling. This is where the true beauty of love lies. It is not in perfection, but in the shared purpose that two people come together to fulfill. When we focus on purpose over perfection, we begin to shift our perspective. We move away from looking for a perfect match in terms of looks, status, or worldly achievements, and we start to look for someone whose heart aligns with ours and who is committed to walking the same path of faith. This shift in mindset is transformative because it frees us from unrealistic expectations and opens the door for deeper, more meaningful relationships. Purpose over perfection also means embracing the imperfections of ourselves and our future partner. We all come with baggage, experiences, mistakes, wounds, and brokenness. No one enters a relationship completely whole or flawless, but God, in His infinite wisdom, knows how to bring two people together who, though imperfect, can be a perfect match for the journey He has in mind for them. These imperfections don't disqualify us from love. Rather, they create opportunities for growth, healing, and strength. A relationship built on purpose allows space for growth. In fact, it thrives on it. As we grow individually and as a couple, we face challenges that refine our character, deepen our faith, and strengthen our love for one another. A perfect relationship, by contrast, is often one that leaves no room for growth because the focus is too narrow, fixated on idealized qualities rather than willingness to work through difficulties. In a relationship based on purpose, both partners are committed to growth. Growth in their relationship with each other, growth in their individual walks with God, and growth in fulfilling the unique calling God has placed on their lives. The beauty of this process is that both partners bring their unique strengths and weaknesses to the table, and together they create something greater than they could have on their own. When we seek perfection, we are often afraid of conflict or imperfection in the relationship. We might think that if a relationship isn't smooth and without challenges, it's not meant to be. However, relationships built on purpose are not immune to difficulty. In fact, they often require hard work, patience, and sacrifice. But through the challenges, God uses the relationship to teach us lessons about humility, forgiveness, grace, and love. Instead of running away from difficulties, we learn to face them with faith and trust in God's plan. Perfection can create unrealistic expectations, and these expectations often lead to disappointment. No one can live up to the idealized version of perfection that we sometimes project onto them, but when we embrace purpose, we learn to appreciate the uniqueness of our partner. We see them not as someone who needs to be fixed or changed to fit our ideal, but as someone God has uniquely crafted for us, flaws and all. Purpose in a relationship is about supporting each other's growth, walking together through life's ups and downs, and striving toward a common goal. Purpose over perfection also means that we value what truly matters in a relationship, love, trust, respect, and shared values, over the superficial things that often become the focus. Too often we become fixated on outward qualities such as appearance, career success, or social status. While these things can be important, they should never overshadow the core values that are necessary for a lasting relationship. Purpose keeps the focus on what truly matters, building a life together that honors God, serves others, and fulfills the calling He has placed on both of your hearts. The Bible makes it clear that God doesn't look at outward appearances or the perfection of our actions, but at the heart. In 1 Samuel 16:7 it says, "The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." God is more concerned with the heart of a person, the posture of their soul, and their willingness to fulfill His purposes than with the external, transient things that we often elevate in our minds. When we begin to look at relationships the same way, through the lens of purpose rather than perfection, we begin to focus on the heart. Do we ask ourselves, does this person have a heart for God? Are they committed to growing in faith and character and in love? These are the things that will matter most in a lasting relationship. When we place purpose over perfection, we also begin to understand that God's plan for us may not always align with our own preferences. We might not meet the person we've imagined in our head, or we might not experience the kind of relationship we once thought we wanted. But God's ways are higher than ours, and His plans are always better than anything we could dream up for ourselves. Trusting that God knows exactly what we need and how it will unfold frees us from the pressure of seeking perfection and allows us to lean into His purpose for our lives. This trust in God's plan allows us to embrace the beauty of imperfection in ourselves and others. It enables us to appreciate the uniqueness of each person God brings into our lives, knowing that their imperfections are a part of His divine design. It reminds us that relationships are not about finding someone who fits into a mold, but about coming together with someone who shares a common purpose, a common faith, and a willingness to grow in love through the ups and downs of life. When we focus on purpose over perfection, we stop seeking to control the relationship and start seeking God's will for it. We begin to understand that our relationships are not just about personal happiness, but about fulfilling God's plan for our lives. God is the one who ordains relationships, and His plan for us is always filled with love, grace, and purpose. Instead of getting caught up in an unattainable ideal of perfection, we can trust that God's plan for our relationship is not only beautiful, but also exactly what we need. Purpose over perfection doesn't mean we settle for less than God's best. It means that we seek out the partner who's aligned with God's purpose for our lives, not someone who fits into a perfect mold. When we embrace purpose, we open ourselves to the deeper, richer love that God has intended for us, one that is full of growth, support, grace, and faith. This kind of love, founded on purpose, is what leads to lasting, fulfilling relationships that stand the test of time. Trusting God's timing can be one of the most difficult aspects of our walk of faith. It's easy to trust when things are moving fast, when the path ahead seems clear, and when everything we desire comes quickly. But what about those seasons of waiting? What about those times when things aren't moving as quickly as we hoped, when answers aren't coming in the time frame we set, and when the promise we've been waiting on feels like it's slipping further away? It's in these moments, during the waiting, that our trust in God's timing is put to the test. God's timing is often different from our own. We live in a world that values speed, instant gratification, and results now. We are conditioned to believe that if we work hard enough, pray long enough, or wait patiently enough, we can make things happen on our own time. We set timelines for our dreams, our relationships, our careers, and our lives. And when things don't line up with those plans, it can feel like God is silent or distant. But we must remember that God's perspective is eternal, and His timing is rooted in perfect wisdom and love. He sees the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story, and He knows exactly when the right moment is to move, to act, and to reveal His plan. Trusting God's timing is about surrendering our desire for control and submitting to His perfect plan. It's acknowledging that our understanding of timing is limited. We can only see in part, but God sees the full picture. He sees the connections, the preparations, and the lessons that are happening behind the scenes, even when we don't. We are often so focused on the I, not now, that we miss the why it needs to be later. God's delay is not a denial. It is not a sign that He has forgotten about us or that He's withholding something good. His delays are often designed to prepare us for what's ahead, to shape us into the person we need to be to handle the blessings He has in store for us. When we trust God's timing, we release the pressure of trying to make things happen on our own. We stop trying to force doors open or push ourselves into positions we're not ready for. There's a peace that comes with trusting that God is in control. It's a peace that allows us to wait patiently without anxiety, without fear, and without frustration. We trust that God knows what He's doing, even when we don't understand it. We trust that He is working all things together for our good, even when we can't see the evidence of it right away. But trusting God's timing doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It's not about being passive or inactive. It's about being faithful in the waiting. It's about continuing to pray, to seek His will, and to do the work He has called us to do, even when we don't have all the answers. Trusting God's timing involves an active faith, one that believes He is at work in the waiting season. It means continuing to walk forward, step by step, even when the path is unclear. It means trusting that as we do our part, God is orchestrating everything around us to bring about the right outcome at the right time. In the process of trusting God's timing, we are often refined. Our patience is tested. Our desires are purified. We learn to let go of our own timelines and trust that God's plan is far better than anything we could have imagined for ourselves. Sometimes the waiting is hard because we don't understand why it's taking so long. But in those moments, we must remind ourselves that God is not in a hurry. He is never late, but He is always on time. His timing is perfect, and He is using every moment of waiting to build in us the strength, wisdom, and character we need to walk into the next season of our lives. One of the key aspects of trusting God's timing is understanding that it is rooted in love. God loves us too much to give us something before we are ready for it. Just as a parent doesn't give a child a sharp knife or a car key before they are mature enough to handle it, God knows when we are spiritually, emotionally, and physically ready to step into the blessings He has for us. It's not about withholding, it's about protection. It's about knowing that the best things in life are worth waiting for, and that when the time is right, He will reveal them to us. Trusting God's timing also means trusting that He will not withhold good things from us. Psalm 84:11 reminds us, "For the Lord God is a sun and shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does He withhold from those who walk uprightly." If you're in a season of waiting, remember this promise. God will not withhold what is good from you. He sees the desires of your heart, and He has good plans for your life. But those plans are not just about what you want. They are about what He knows you need. And sometimes what we think we need isn't what God knows is best for us. His timing ensures that we don't miss the fullness of His blessings. In the waiting, we can trust that God is doing a work in us. Waiting is never wasted in God's kingdom. He is refining our character, building our faith, and teaching us dependence on Him. It's in the waiting that we learn patience, trust, and the ability to rest in His peace. It's in the waiting that we learn to surrender our timelines and control to Him. It's in the waiting that God prepares us for the blessings He is bringing into our lives. The waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. They are a vital part of the process. It's important to note that sometimes God's timing doesn't align with our desires because He has something greater in store. We often think we know what's best for us, but God's ways are higher. He sees the bigger picture, the end result, and the most perfect timing for everything to unfold. When we learn to trust